But I just want to, in the first instance, absolutely say that it is a huge pleasure and honour to be representing Sinn Féin as our party's spokesperson on foreign affairs here in the great city of Melbourne, one of the massive centres of location for Irish emigration. And I think one of the things that has struck both myself and Pierce and the rest of our delegation as we've travelled through this city is, and through this country over the past number of days, is that we have probably a renewed sense of the shared history between Ireland and Australia. And it's a history that is complex and it runs deep. It's a history that I think has been acknowledged, commenced in chains of bondage and oppression. I'm from a place called Carrickmacross in County Monaghan, and during the Great Hunger, the famine and the immediate years afterwards, there was a policy that was promoted by the British government and implemented by British landlords of extracting young girls and women from workhouses and sending them to Australia, essentially to go into servitude. And my local workhouse was one of those workhouses where young women were taken away just in the dead of night. And there was actually a book written about the horrific journey that they undertook, and the book was entitled Barefoot and Pregnant, because that's the condition they arrived on to these shores. And during those years, and for some years before and afterwards, Australia was actually a threat to Irish people. It was a threat that was given by the British government and British authorities. It was a threat that was given to anyone who dared rise up in rebellion against British rule in Ireland, but it was also a threat to anybody who dared to be poor and Catholic. And things obviously have fundamentally changed, because at that time in Ireland these people were represented a cost almost, but the British learned that if they shipped them to Australia they became almost commodities. And then of course Australia and what it meant shifted. It shifted from being a British threat to actually become a haven for Irish men and Irish women who came in exile from conflict and from hunger, but also for many who just came seeking work and a better life. And of course today Australia has become synonymous with opportunity, ambition and possibility for many Irish people. And I want to put on the record that we as Irish political leaders are very grateful for the opportunities that Australia has offered to generations of Irish people, and we're very proud also of the huge contribution that Irish people have made to this country, whether that be in politics, in trade unionism, in business, in sports, literatures and the arts. And over the course of the 5 days we have seen that play out in real time, including through the access that we have been given. And of course those contributions will no doubt be expanded by the newest generation who have settled in Australia, and those who we know among them will make this country their home. But we're also have been very conscious that many of our young people in particular who have been landing in Australia in more recent times have done so because they felt that they had no choice but to leave Ireland. They felt that they had been forced out by a housing crisis and by repeated failures of government. And I want to tonight reiterate the commitment that Mary Lou MacDonald made when she was here last year, and that Pierce Doherty made in Sydney this week, that a Sinn Féin-led government is going to strive to create a genuine route back home to a good life in Ireland for those who want to return. And we see that as a crucial part of our job, that not one Irish person who is boarding a plane, whether it's to come to Australia, to Canada or to anywhere else, is doing so because they feel that they have no choice. And despite all our faults, I want to say this, Ireland remains a really great country, and Ireland's potential is immense. But too many people, particularly our young people, are being let down by a government that just seems unable and unwilling to seize the opportunities that we have that can take Ireland to the next level. But the story of Ireland in 2023 is a story of change. Ordinary workers, families, communities, they're looking to shape a new future that's built on opportunity, on ambition, on equality. They want, and they're increasingly demanding, a political leadership that has the energy and the determination to match their own hopes. And the positive news that we can all share is that regardless of the government's failures, the Irish people are actually grasping the opportunities for change. And election results are one, but an important one, illustration of this. Sinn Féin won the popular vote in the Southern 2020 general election. And support for our party has actually grown since then to record levels. And there's now a real prospect of a new government, a government in Dublin that doesn't include either Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael for the first time in 100 years. That's something that we can be excited about. And in the north, and sometimes people outside of Ireland realise the significance more than those who are at the coalface. But in May 2022, in the Assembly election, Sinn Féin emerged as the largest party for the first time, and Michelle O'Neill, a Republican woman from Tyrone, now stands elected as the First Minister in a state that was purposely designed and artificially constructed with one simple mission: to ensure that that could never, ever happen. Well, it actually happened. And the position that of that election has been actually reinforced by the local elections that took place just a few short weeks ago. And I have to say, it would remind you and lead you to the words of Yeats's famous poem when he said, "All has changed utterly." And all of that change in many ways is built upon the foundations of the work of Irish political leaders 25 years ago, when they showed the courage that was necessary to conclude the Good Friday Agreement. And a generation since then, as you know, has grown up free from conflict in a very different world that's just full of that hope and opportunity that I talked about. And what we are saying and what we are hearing is that there is now a demand that Irish political leaders need to recapture that spirit and determination that was demonstrated in 1998. And what that means in the first instance is that the executive in the north needs to get back up and running. We need to be able to attract investment, create jobs and deliver change, and to plan for the future in the north and across Ireland, because the Good Friday Agreement was a groundbreaking chapter in Ireland's story. But tonight, the message from Australian Friends of Irish Unity, just as Friends of Irish Unity all over the world, the message is that it's time to write the next chapter. It's time to start building the reunification of our country. And